we'll talk about some concrete questions that you and your management can sit down and sort of use this as sort of a talking guide. And these are by far not the only questions to ask, but they do get you on that path to start sort of discussing other things around this universe. And the first to talk about is, do you want your APIs to be private or public? So you want them to support your unique business value, and sometimes that value may be more of interest to the internal development group or the external development group. But one of the things that I want to bring up here is that the fact that you don't have to be private or public. You can be private and take it public later. You can be public. You can pull it back private. ESPN and Netflix did that. Or you can have a hybrid of the two where you have private but you share with partners, those sorts of things. So there's all sorts of situations along that spectrum that you can touch on. But the one thing I would advise is, if you do have a private API, always think about it as a public API, because at some point you may want to take it public, and then things like security and data formats and all those things that you might have considered a little bit differently if it was public will come back to haunt you. So if you have a private API program, at least think of it as a public API program to give you that opportunity. Question number 2 is, how do APIs foster innovative development? You build external partnerships that you didn't even know existed. The athletic wear maker who interacts with the insurance company, right? Because they want to see what customers cross over and are they exercising? Maybe the insurance company wants to give them a break on their insurance. But APIs also enable your existing staff to support your future growth. If you give them building blocks and you give them time to use those blocks to build things, then what you're going to find is that they might have great ideas. They just needed the opportunity and the platform and the space to do it. So that sort of internal use case of giving your developers the tools and the time to go out there and foster an innovative and creative effort. Question number 3, how do you make it easy for your users to access your business access and capabilities using APIs? Well, you got to make it frictionless. It's got to be easy. API management tools typically build a lot of this in to allow people to sign up to use an API. Usually at the scaled back use, and then as they get more familiar with the APIs, they can request either a higher volume calls or a more expanded catalog to use or something like that. But make sure, in order to make it easy for those users, you have to build that community and make sure that communication is a one-way street, because developers don't have a problem telling you when something might be made better. Question number 4, what are your core considerations? There are really 3 that I think are important to highlight. First of all, governance should be light and agile, and enable an agile process. You want that organizational velocity to be high. Your processes should be streamlined and efficient, so that means that when somebody in business comes up with a marketing idea, it shouldn't have to take a whole lot to get that idea over to the developers, so that they can use these building blocks to build something out of it and sort of bring it to life. And then stakeholders across the business and IT, which is missing here, across the business and IT should be aligned and engaged, because you want everybody to have a voice. Remember, APIs are a product, and your API project manager is the one that's sort of going to be leading that effort to align and engage everyone and figure out what APIs can do for your business. Next to last question, what will the APIs contribute to your organization? Well, you need to decide what is it about your business that you want to share. So the whole idea is that they will contribute the ability for you to basically expose those things that make your business unique. And by doing that, you can create an engaging story with your external developers and ultimately your consumer about what it is that you value and what type of value can you bring to them. And then finally, once you figure out basically how to build those APIs and how to make it contribute to your organization, then you also need to figure out how to measure it, whether that's in revenue numbers or number of developers signed up or number of API calls per month or whatever. early on you want to figure out what it is that we can offer and how can we measure it ultimately when we build that API program. The final question, and where will you lead your business in the next 10 years? Professional developers want platforms to build on all over. They want to express their creativity. I think the app culture has shown us that. The platform involves cloud and mobile and data management and everything else that we've talked about up to this point. And APIs are the keys to unlocking the potential of that areas because they allow each of those areas to be connected, and not just be connected, but be exposed out into to the developers and the other folks that can actually take advantage of it.